Hello, my name is Courtney Proffitt, and for this project I have chosen the activity called Meow, Does Your Cat Speak English? Now this activity can be found on pages 158 to 161 of the Fantini text. As it is written, the book says that this activity can be used for students at any proficiency level and any age. It also has the potential to address 3 of the 4 domains of listening, speaking, and reading. Now, the purpose of this activity is to teach the vowel sounds in English. And the vowel sounds in English are taught through animal sounds. We look at the animal sounds in English, but we also look at the animal sounds in other languages. So, for a teacher looking to make this activity very culturally relevant to his or her class, he or she could look at the languages that are represented and discuss the animal sounds in those languages. So students are given the opportunities to discuss the animal sounds, the vowel sounds in those sounds, and to analyze the positions of their mouths and jaw as the animal sounds are being made. And as a bonus, this activity can reinforce the vocabulary of animals in English. Now, this activity focuses primarily on the animal sound of a cat. And the sound that a cat makes is meow in English. However, students could analyze any number of animal sounds with this activity. And later in this activity, students are given the opportunity to identify any words in their native language that also contains that vowel sound, and of course that is if that sound is present. Now I have adapted this activity for a group of intermediate level students at the middle school. And this activity is very hands-on, interactive, and it relies heavily on visuals. And it allows students to see and analyze the positions of their vowels as they produce each individual sound. Now, I chose to do this activity with a slightly more proficient group because I think that they are better equipped to be able to analyze and discuss with each other the differences in the positions of their mouths. Now, this activity, as it's written, is designed to take about 2 to 3 hours. But it could take as long as a teacher desires. It could easily be turned into a unit. Now, in this video, you will see me first introduce the activity. Then you will see me read a book as part of the introduction to this activity. And then we will get our first task started. And this activity could easily be adapted for any age level. But, of course, there would have to be modifications. Well, good afternoon. Today we are going to start a unit on vowel sounds. Okay? There are 5 vowels in English: A, E, I, O, and U. Okay? There are 5 vowels, but there are more vowel sounds. So we're going to be looking at each of the vowel sounds, not today. Today we're going to be looking at 2. Okay? We're going to be looking at E, and we're going to be looking at ow. And ow is a diphthong. Okay, and we'll talk about that later. But E and ow, we're going to be looking at 2 different sounds, 2 different vowel sounds. Okay. But first, what I want us to do, I want you to think about a question. Think about this question. Ponder this question. Think. Does your cat speak English? Giovanni, what do you think? Does your cat speak English? No, he speaks cat. Okay, fair enough. What about you, Victoria? Does your cat speak English? You don't think so? Okay, well, does your cat speak German? Right, you speak German, so does your cat speak German? Alright, well, I just want everybody to think about that. Does your cat speak English? Right? Now, while we are pondering, while we are thinking about that question, I want to read this book to you. Now, this book is full of animal sounds, and it has animal sounds from different languages. So you might recognize some of these, and some of these you may have never heard. But I want you to listen, I want you to read, and I want you to try to guess the animal that I'm trying to sound like. Now, I'm not very good at some of these, okay, but just use your imagination. Okay? And this is called Mung Mung. Alright, the author of this story, remember the author is the person who wrote the words. Alright? The author of this story is Linda Sue Park. And it was illustrated, that's our verb. The illustrator, remember, is the person who draws the pictures. Right? Draws the pictures. Okay? So it's illustrated by Diane Rigdon. So Mung Mung. What kind of animal says Mung Mung? Bo Bo. Wow Wow. Gab Gab. Woof Woof. Kind of animal is that? Right? It's a dog. What kind of animal says twit twit? Ee ee. Meow meow. Tweet tweet. Wee, wee. Yeah, and I don't know if you can hear it. I can hear one. What is it? Right, it's a bird. Okay. What kind of animal says gow, gow? That's probably not very good. Louise, I want this one to be yours, okay? Croa, croa. Oh, cock. Kaggle, kaggle. Ribbit, ribbit. Do you remember this one? I know we have trouble. What do you think? Do you remember? Let me show you the picture. We'll see the words. I'll show you the picture. Do you remember what that animal is? Right, it's a frog. Good. How do you remember? It's a frog. What kind of animal says bop, bop, ga, ga, qua, qua, kva, kva, quack, quack? Right, it's a duck. What kind of animal says gawk, gawk, go, 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 put, duck, go, duck, go, cluck, cluck? Right, the chicken. Now, what kind of animal almost always says ow? Did everybody say that? Ow, ow. Meow, 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 meow. It's a cat. Alright, so Giovanni, once again, does your cat speak English? Maybe. Okay, now, what I want us to do, we're going to be looking at the two vowel sounds in the word meow. Okay? Now, in English, that is M, meow, and it's very, very similar in a lot of the other languages. So that's why we're going to start with it. Okay? Now, remember, my board is not working, so I'm going to be using Post-it notes. Okay? But remember that we spell the word meow, M, meow, M-E-O-W, okay? M-E-O-W. Now, I'm going to put this up on the board, okay? And I'll have this bigger for us next time. All right? Now, I want you to look at that E. Underline it. That E is going to be a long E. E. Okay? And then ow. And that's our diphthong that I was telling you about. E and ow. Now, on your desk, you have two flashcards. Okay, and I want you to find the one up at the top in black. You're going to see this little I in brackets. Okay? Now, this just tells me this represents the sound E, but it's not English, so we don't need to worry about it right now. And we'll talk about this a little bit later. But this says E. Okay, so I know that this card shows me how to make the sound E. E. Now, I want you to look at the first picture. Does everybody have it? Good. I want you to look at this first picture, and I'm going to turn sideways here. Okay? Right now, her mouth is just closed. All right. Think about where. Just close your mouth. Think about where your tongue is. Your tongue. So after this activity was done, the students were able to successfully make the E and the ow sound within reason. There were some students that still seemed to struggle, but that's only natural, and we don't expect perfection. But some of the things that I thought went really well, the students enjoyed the story, and I enjoyed that story as well. It was not always easy for me to make the animal sounds, and there are some of them that I am still not sure about. But the students did enjoy it, and I even had one correct me on the sound that a bird makes in his language. He said that at least it may be a difference in country or dialect, but at least where he is from, the word that was in the book was inaccurate. And so that sparked a nice little conversation about animal noises, and the students could talk about whether if their language was represented or not, and then if it was different in their language and if it was not represented, they had the opportunity to share their animal sounds in their language, which was really nice. As expected, some of the students struggled. The ow, the diphthong was a little difficult, and I think the flashcards provided a nice visual. But next time, if I do this again, I might provide multiple diagrams and pictures and images of the same sound and give them a mirror, just to give them extra tools and extra support for how to really get the mouth to form those sounds. Also challenging, which was also a little expected, was coming up with words in their native language that had the same sounds. It was more difficult, obviously, for those students who spoke a language that the sound was not present, but they were able to learn about other languages and culture with their partners and with classmates who could come up with another word. And so we would just create a chart and sort of display the words that students were able to come up with. And for those students that couldn't come up with anything, instead of them just sitting there, later again I would let them see if they could come up with other English words that they knew that would be able to fit into that chart, and that way everybody is able to participate. I would incorporate the story again. I think that students really enjoyed that, and I would make sure that my board was working, and so that everything would be displayed a little bit bigger. But I felt that overall this was a good learning experience, a good bonding experience for these students to really get to think, does my cat speak English? Does my cat speak Spanish? I know personally I never thought about animal sounds being different in other languages. So I thought this was a very, very fun activity, and one that really got students energized and started thinking about their own language in comparison to English.